James, you mentioned yesterday that Sean wanted to have a conversation with you. Did you end up having that conversation? And if you did, is there anything you'd be comfortable sharing?
No. No, I don't have anything I'd be comfortable sharing.
James, is there anything you can update us on with respect to Landon and his availability for the rest of the season? And can you comment on the job that Hunter's done, kind of stepping in there and filling in?
Yeah, I don't have anything specifically on Landon yet. To your point, I think you have a pretty good idea how I handle things. If they're season ending, I'll usually express that to you. But I don't have anything new on that. But Hunter's done a nice job. He really has. He's doing extremely well, kind of getting within the team from a cultural perspective. The coaches love him, the players love him. He's actually getting his MBA right now, so he's doing great there, and he's really playing well. So we've been pleased with him. He's been a huge pickup for us for really a lot of different perspectives. Been a really good addition.
Similar to Mark's question, do you have any further update for Olu with regards to season-ending injury and that front for him?
No.
James, you mentioned on Tuesday that practice will decide who starts at quarterback this week. What have you seen from Sean Drew this week, and have you made a decision on a starter there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's nothing to really report in terms of changes. You guys hadn't really asked me this the whole rest of the season. So obviously if there's any type of change, I probably still wouldn't announce it until after the game, obviously, because the media is watching the other team is watching everything we discuss, but I don't have any announcements to be made.
James, in terms of tackle depth, is Drew Shelton in the spot where you feel like you can trust him in a Big Ten setting for an extended stretch if you needed to?
Yeah, he's a guy, there's been talk for a long time about 5 years of eligibility, and he's a guy that, if we weren't trying to save his red shirt, would have played a bunch already this year. Has done a really good job, is super smart, prepares extremely well. He's gotten bigger, stronger, he's right around 300 pounds now. So he's done a nice job. So, obviously there's a lot of moving parts that I know you guys are asking about. We'll see how that will factor in with him come Saturday.
James, the last few weeks, the play calling has seemed, a little more aggressive than maybe.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
The last couple of weeks, play calling, especially on offense, has seemed a little more aggressive than maybe compared to the early half of the year. Has there been a change in, some of the planning or behind the scenes, some people's voices who maybe are stepping up in that sense, or roles been adjusted?
No, really no changes. I don't necessarily see it that way. I can understand probably why you're asking it, but we haven't really planned differently. We've executed better as the season has gone on, but I don't necessarily feel like we have necessarily approach things differently, if that's what you're asking. I think we've executed better and better as the season has gone on. So that's played a part in it.
On that note, on the execution side, how has Sean changed in terms of throwing the ball up to guys that maybe aren't wide open and giving guys like Parker Washington the opportunity to come down with a contested catch?
Yeah, I don't really necessarily see a change in that in practice and in games. We've made some more plays. We've made some more contested catches. We had some drops early on. I've mentioned to you guys, I think the last couple of weeks, obviously we can all pick out the things that we got to improve on in terms of the mistakes and things that we need to eliminate. But I do think the last two games, Sean's also made some big-time plays. I think we talked about a couple of the throws in the previous game, not this past one, the one before. But he's made some big time throws, so that's part of it as well.
In the event Olu doesn't go this weekend, does Bryce Effner slot over that left tackle spot? Is there a different plan? How comfortable are you with that?
Yeah, again, and I know we got different media that have showed up. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking now about things that I would want to get from Indiana. So I guess I understand you guys got to ask the questions. But Bryce Effner's played all year long. We expect him to have a bigger role. Obviously, we got some bumps and bruises across the offensive line. So he's played a significant role all year long, and he'll play more probably this week.
James, you moved Day to kick return a couple games ago. What went into that decision?
Yeah, just more than anything, we had a couple injuries at the running back position, so just felt like give Day an opportunity there. He's really been doing it as a guy in practice for the last 2 years, so give him an opportunity, especially when we hadn't. I think I had mentioned to you guys we hadn't had Caedan for a couple of weeks, so that played a factor in that.
Parker has last game was a career game before played pretty solid as well. Compared to the early half of the season, he seemed to be, a bit of a mid-late season breakout. Has anything changed for him in terms of the offense, or has it just been a progression of getting more comfortable as the years gone on?
With Parker?
Yeah.
No, nothing's changed. There's going to be some games where, based on how they play coverage or how Sean goes through his progression, where the ball goes to certain guys. Obviously, we always game plan trying to, put Parker in position to make plays, but obviously the defense knows that as well. So if he's not open, we're not just going to force it to him. We're going to move on kind of throughout the progression. So there's going to be some weeks where the tight ends catch 12 balls for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. There's going to be other games where it's the slot, or it's the X, or it's the Z, or it's the running game. It just really depends on how things play out.
James, the past 2 games we've seen very balancing pads and warm-ups for games. Obviously, we haven't seen him out here during our periods, but just behind the scenes, obviously, come along as a during his freshman season.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jerry. He got hurt in the summer, so had missed a bunch of time, but he's getting close to being back full go. He's been awesome though. He's got a huge smile on his face. He's worked extremely hard. He's changed his body. Our training staff loves him. The strength staff loves him. Him and Zane Durant are like inseparable. I never see one without the other. He's doing really well. So he'll be a guy that hopefully towards the end of the season will have an opportunity to get some work and get some reps. We'll just see how that plays out.
Aside from tempo, or aside from fatigue and then substitution problems, getting the sub packages, what does tempo do to a defense that teams want to use it or stay away from it if you're the defense?
Yeah, I think in theory what they're trying to do, people have gotten better at defending it, but in theory, especially early on, it would simplify people. You wouldn't get the exotic blitz or the exotic coverage because people were more concerned, almost like in 2-minute defense, where you want to make a solid call and have your guys out execute it at a higher rate than their offense is. You don't want to call something exotic and somebody doesn't get the call and you blow a coverage and give up a huge play. So that's what they're really trying to get you to do. They're trying to get generic, vanilla looks. And then the other thing is they're trying to tire you out. They're trying to be able to run from sideline to sideline, because usually when you're using tempo, not only using tempo from a speed pace, but you're also trying a lot of bubble screens and things like that to try to get you to run from sideline to sideline. So now you take maybe a really good defensive end, they can't sub them out, and those guys are stuck on the field, and now they're not the same type of players that they typically are. So that's the theory behind it. I also think the people like we saw last week and like what we try to do, where you change the tempo up, because if you go fast all the time, that's hard. But if you do anything all the time, you can get adjusted and used to that, where if you can go fast and then go slow and then go fast and get an idea of what defense they're playing, look back to the sideline, try to get the perfect call for that defense, those types of things. There's value in the diversity of the tempos as well.
2 more.
James, when you decide to make a change to the starting lineup, what is that timeline like during the week, and how do you communicate that to the players directly involved and to the rest of your team?
Yeah, so typically we don't make announcements to the team, but it's during the week. I mean, sometimes obviously it could happen on game day and things like that, but it's typically during the week. We'll start to make some adjustments as the week goes on during practice, depending on how it plays out. And then we have a discussion as a staff, and the coaches have a discussion during the week on what is the rotation going to be on Saturday. And unless it's something dramatic, a big change, then we don't really talk about it till Saturday morning. But if there's something significant going to happen, then we'll have a discussion. Probably Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon.
We saw Jimmy Chris late in the game last week. What can you tell us about his development over the last couple of years?
Yeah, he's just been an awesome program guy. He's done everything right academically and athletically. He's worked his tail off. He's very popular, very well liked. So it was really good to see him to be able to get in the game and make the most of it. Obviously you don't want guys to get hurt for people's opportunities to come, but Jimmy's a guy that's done everything right since he's been here. So it's good to see guys like that get in the game for whatever reason and then have some success and be able to build on that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.